Good morning, everyone. So we'll do the prayer to Manjushri. Prayer to Manjushri. Lama Dangumbo Jambal Yang Lai Chansa Loi Kangi Londe Jinyen Tindra Nidara Namda Rasa Jinyen Dengun Jijin Zichir Nidji Tukara Lekbam Zen Konda Sibi Senrara Mari Mindum Dongal Jizire Rozo kun la puji tarze yen la chuju yanden Rudra che dro nyemo nilo leji cha dro ndolze Mare menze donga nyugu jinyen chenze raljen Denen dajen saji tarze yenden lezo jaze tuvek Chudan chudan chunyen jende Dale mense jambe yang la indi Umara bhajana de umara bhajana de umara bhajana de umara bhajana Umara bhajana de 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 Zenden Jiji Chenra Vizre Dale Timo Mimbai Razane Kadan Denje Shunglo Tobai Lodre Pobe Nawan Zandu So Ndezum Zonje Tam Jijingo Ridan Jingur Janzen Chavda Kajen zonda maji ba balwa jinju jinja beja jindu jima me bala nguera do do de pozungu ba jimbe ngone chanza jinja zuchi o shiwa nenzaram tamje do tu jinja zun zimbaran zendo zo kange shazanda e mengonge zar zimbe nonda sembe zewe zendrum bar vendo gun me gendu zenjuru tuje dama kune shuren jiden zumje konja be tuam be monkar be jabe tirinda le inzur shon Ujin zolen be mendon bo zeren jewe nam do ranjen lenje do zenzo be je den chom barwe pe man junen dale yin zoro jon gombolo do arian dewa dan to me nyen cholan ju jenda ju jun ja no ni bo so zanlin jen chon nan jen da e jon kon re do ga ren jen yin be golo yin den gun jong ga we sha zar do nin bi den zi be be nan jor ba Longchen ramjam sha jenda ye zhong, ridong jamba zheno zheno le, gombe long le po bete jendo, londo jonze jamze ngon jur, mi bam jambi yang jenda ye zhong, kangi da la riba lo ba dan, do jiten je me nga nong la zo, la ba za dan, ngur shen la be, ngui ju tin chen la men da ye zhong, namo nguro, junyin pa men dun je she za la kunja rong jong tu je jimbe ten, du je ka la ka men ta na wa, Palden la mi sha jenda e shon, yende sanje kun na nyam na yang, kadin sanje kun el ha bigan, sawe la mi sha la swande, aso ndo ye lam na che la njur, konda chu jur dongi jiden na, de she lo mar jur ba kan su da, tendir dan bi chu ji jan bebe, sembar de ban ta dan dir she she, nam wari an tam ba, lai ke dan lo dan jinge, ndubum da dan mi ke nam dan, dua gunji dan nam jizambar, Kamje gedu sosuru tügürci. Manjur doğa namka danyan besim jen tamje namdulden ki devala name bayan da bir zobi sanji jin gubaran burçela. Cine jan göbreşa teyi çedu. Tekba çimbe şunlu jası çimba şivala teni ci zebe şancus sembi çöbalan juba teni tsuşindu sene nyam sulan var jo nyamdo samba şancu çodu tu cebadan çede sen çals. So, raising this awakened mind before we begin with this actual teaching. In this way, for the sake of all the motherly sentient beings equal to its space, and in order to lead them complete enlightenment, regardlessly, for this purpose, I will going to listening this Mahayana scripture composed by Shantideva, the way of Bodhisattva's life, and I will going to implement it with that kind of motivation, study this teaching and implant the meaning as well as the word. And then additionally, the manner or the conduct should be while listening. The teaching is that listen carefully in an excellent way and try to implant it. The actual teaching way of Bodhisattva's life, which contains 10 chapter with the 4 theme. So among the 10 chapters, 7 of them we already studied. We are at the moment the 8th chapter, the meditative concentrations. And among the 4 theme, the 2 of them we already studied, and we are here at the 3rd theme, which is to how to develop the further the the Bodhicitta or the Mahayana spiritual path, how to develop further. To that, there are and the requirements are diligent meditative concentrations and the wisdom. So the wisdom, kind of like the diligent, which how to develop diligent within oneself, which is we already studied, and then now today that we are studying that how to develop meditative concentrations within oneself. And this within this how to develop meditative concentrations, now almost we already studied complete studied that what are the countries that one should consider to avoid, and what are the alliance that we should try to adapt it within oneself to improve our meditative concentrations. So in short, the countries is the mundane concept, and mainly the craving. So the craving is the one that we should lay it low, and eventually we should eradicate it. And then alliance are that physically kind of like relying upon those solitude place, like a remote place, kind of like staying away from crowdness. And then the mentally staying away from the distractions, like a solitude, choosing the place solitude, which naturally reduce our mundane activities. So many of our mundane activity will automatically reduce when we stay in a stay away from crowdness. And then based on that, and then kind of like a further the here how to develop the meditative concentration. Shantideva, based in this scripture, he is kind of like recommending us to develop the meditative concentration based on the choosing the object is kind of like a bodhicitta, to develop bodhicitta within oneself. And to do that, and how to say, the alliance are some sort of like those, they kind of like stay away from crowdness, and relying upon solitude is the first. And then second is to develop the sense of equalness of others and self. And then the third is the make it oneself able to exchange with the others, means that train oneself to make able to put other as a more important than self. In short, the priority, that make able to put other as a priority. So then once we complete these 3 steps, then try to go to develop the bodhicitta. And these all alliance that how to stay away from crowdness and relying upon solitude, and the how to develop the sense of equalness, and how to make oneself able to exchange with the others, means the make it able to put other as a priority. How to do it, how to develop, how to train all of this, that which we already kind of like a Shantideva already completed guide. And then now, after training, or after I would say complete this training, these 3 alliance to develop bodhicitta further, then they hear from today here, kind of like a Shantideva, how to say, advising, like instructing us after that what one should do after making able to put other as a priority. Then once we developed until that stage, then what's the next step in order to develop bodhicitta, what one should do? Then these are the guideline from the stanza 146 and onward. So the instructions that after, this is something that when you listening, or when when I am teaching from here, or when you are listening, you should listening based on a assuming that I am already trained to myself, able to put other as a priority. That sense is already developed. And based on that, now what is the next step? Then Shantideva was saying, okay, then once you train yourself until that development, then the next steps will be this. This is what you should train. This is how you should try to develop the sense of caring about others, and the reducing the self-centered attitude. And this is what you should do, the next step, which is to that within this instruction, that there are kind of like the gently guiding what to do next, and then harshly or the roughly letting you do kind of like what to do the next. There are 2. Always, this is something, when you reach the higher and higher, there were going to be the many different ways. First, they will try to let you deal with the peaceful way. If it doesn't work, wrathful way, right? But the good things still here, this is Mahayana, and there are nobody else using peaceful and wrathful activity to myself. I would say, nobody else is doing this to me. Rather, I have to do myself to peaceful activity to convenience myself. If not, then wrathful activity to convenience myself. Nobody else doing it. Still, this is Mahayana, right? Sutra, not. So, still, kind of like even though we talk about the peaceful and wrathful activity, but who is the responsible to doing it? Doing it is myself, nobody else. So that this first, that Shantideva instructing how to convince myself gently, from this stanza 145 to 168, until that. Until that 100 page, the stanza 168. I think almost like 10, 11, 12, 13 stanza. So this 13 stanza talks about how to convince myself in a gentle way, in a smooth way. By telling this to myself, I should convince myself that it says, Yi chu rangden che depe, kalba chame de gyurjang, ngalwa chenpo tetabur chu dungal bashik drups. Tetar ngepar shendagi tenla rabdo jugji dang, tupe kane miluwe teyi yunden chi thong gyurus. So that's how you should gently advise oneself, and try to convince, to put into practical, not just in a understanding level, but try to put into practicals after that. That how they translate it here is the so now from here, this guiding gently. Now what's the next step? That after able to change self and others, then next what to do, how to do, right? Then guiding gently, which is the kind of like trying to convince oneself. So one should advise oneself in this way: countless ages, oh my mind. You see, oh my mind, I'm talking with my mind. You spend desiring to attain your aims. And what great weariness, right? Weariness it was, while your reward was only misery. And therefore, now most certainly apply yourself completely to the good for others. The Buddha did not lie in what he said. You will see the benefits that comes from it. So now here, based on a self-centered attitude, cherishing one's own wishes. We did this countless of times. We tried this like tons of millions of times, countless ages. If kind of like from the Buddhist point of view, and we cherish our own interest, the eons and eons. That's why we are still here in samsara right now, because we cherished self-interest, desiring to attain your aims, right? And based on that intention, and we engage into various activities to accomplish that. We did it. But what great weariness it was. Is it? Now we need to raise our self-question. Is it weariness by cherishing self-interest? Yeah, everybody now, I think, so who are adult enough, they understand this very clear. How weariness it is. Even though it was so weariness, but yet while your reward was only misery. Now this is the problem. If even though it was weariness, but if we able to accomplish in reward something unmisery, like, right, not misery, then maybe it's worth. But what we really get or revert was only misery. That we can see through our own ancestors' history clearly and advisely, and also one's own experientially too, even when we use our own intelligence, and that we try to we put so much effort to attain the one's aim, but instead achieving those, and we almost always fall in misery. So now, what Shantideva was saying, now trying again based on this intention is something useless to try. It's already failed millions of times. Rather than this, now we should change our way to achieving or attaining our aims by, and therefore now most certainly apply yourself completely to the good for others, as the Buddha was guided. Means like Buddha did not lie in what he said. Means that as how Shakyamuni Buddha gave instructions, putting other as a priority to attain my own aim. Now changed it, our intention. This is something also fulfills one's own interest too. It is not something when you put other as a priority, you lose everything. It is not like that. Normally, when we say, according to the mundane concept, when we say or when we do and when we, think, we assume that putting other as a priority means I have to give up all my kind of like a, what do you call it? My interest and some sort of like a, I will lose everything, not really interest, but I will lose everything. I have to give up everything. But that's not the truth. The truth is, it is the perfect skill even to achieve or attain one's own aim. This is what Shakyamuni Buddha, he himself found it, and he applied it, and he accomplished, and he guiding to his follower to try this. Now, until now, we tried everything based on a self-centered attitude. Now, how about try everything based on a, sake of other well-beings? Change this your fundamental intention, and then try it. This is what Buddha said. And then Shantideva also recommending us that what Buddha said, it's not lie. He did not lie in what he said. So please follow his guideline. Actually, this is indirectly Shantideva saying. Forget about this your technique, your method. It was failed. There are millions of evidence are there. If you continuously do the your way, you will going to be fail for sure. As how in the past those millions people, same as you, they tried and they failed. And you will going to be end up like them, failing. So rather than keep trying this failure method, why we don't change the idea, the method, which is like a, how to say, apply yourself completely to the good for others. How Buddha advised. And then in his advice, he did not like what he said. So please try to follow that. Once you follow his guideline, you will see the benefits that comes from it, that comes from following his guideline, right? So this is now kind of like a Shantideva saying, in short, Shantideva saying here, after able to put other as a priority, then one should remove the self-centered attitude, the self-interest, is it? Self-attachment. And then how to benefit others, follow that his guideline, right? Follow his guideline. And you will definitely going to see its result by following, by doing so. Because one reason Shantideva putting is that the Buddha, he did not lie what he said. That's how they translate it here, right? Buddha did not lie what he said. And actually, tu bikane miluwe means that what he guided will never going to fail. That's what in Tibetan here. That what he said, what he guided, is never going to fail, right? Therefore, if you follow his guideline, you will going to see the quality afterwards once you start the following his guideline. 대연된 치통규를 갈대 추징아두수 레디 제발 귤나니스 상제 푼숨 데민바 네갑딘다 귤메시스. If indeed you had in former times embraced this work which he guided and undertaking it, right? You could not still be lacking in the perfect bliss of Buddhahood. This is very interesting guideline, advice. Now, you see how much I put it effort and hard work to achieve all this mundane accomplishment. That same effort, energy, time, if I had spent to achieve enlightenment, and today, the Shantideva was saying that today, the what you are is never going to be like this. Where you are, it's never going to be like this. Right? Rather than, how to say, he means that this same effort, energy, time, if you spend to follow his guideline and practice this way of Bodhisattva's life, now you already achieve enlightenment. It's impossible that you don't achieve enlightenment if you put it all the effort and spend time and energy. That so far what we did for ourselves, if we put that instead of ourselves to the enlightened, then we already achieved. That's what Shantideva was saying. And still binding by this emotions, right? This kind of moment we don't need to undergo. It is impossible for us to undergo binding by afflictive emotions. If we did it, if we followed it, if we put it all those time, energy, and effort for the sake of other beings to achieve enlightenment, instead for myself, then we already achieved it, enlightenment. And he is kind of like confidently saying like this, what we are binding by all this afflictive emotions and samsaric mundane things, it's impossible. That's what he's saying. Nekap dindar gurmisi. It is impossible to become as right now what you are experiencing if you follow that, right? Dewe ditara shendagi kuachagi thigbala choji nganzin chebatar deshin shenlang kombarjis. Then now here, look. Now this is really kind of saying like generating bodhicitta, compassion actually. Bodhicitta, yes. That therefore, just as you identified a drop of others' blood and sperm, and clinging to it as though it was yourself. Now take sentient beings, other as yourself. Easy to understand? Is it? Easy to understand? This is also the Shantideva already described this before too, right? Before too, that he said how we are clinging as a self, I, towards somebody, other two people's belongings. This our body is made out of this our parents, the sperm and blood. That's how this body is created, right? That is the how to say one cause for this, and how we are, how to say, training ourselves to cling this as some I rather than their blood and sperm. And then eventually now, not so far, now I already built it, this pattern or habitual so strong that when I think this body, I will never ever, even I have 1% of doubt that this is theirs. This is mine. This is me and mine. You see, through our keep constantly thinking, that's actually the power of mental. Whatever we constantly think, and it moves towards it. And when we say this, many people get misunderstood to this. They're using this for the achieving mundane things. That's very unfortunate. But anyhow, so that's not point here. So the point here is that how through constantly thinking that you can build that habitual to somebody else's belongings as assuming mine and me actually. Likewise, from today, start constantly thinking that, what do you call it? Where is that? That now take sentient beings, others as yourself. From today, try to build that habit. And definitely, if you do this, one day you will going to have that sense that all the others you can treat same as oneself. That kind of capability will definitely going to be built once you start thinking this way. That's what you need to do after able to put other as a priority. Then now trained this way to make it more firm. Deshin Shenla Kombarjis, make it habit to the others, just like how we made it habit to grasping towards this male and female's sperm and blood, to clinging to myself, to that object, to clinging to myself. And we already built it, this habit. Now we reached it almost. We completed we achieved it, our fruition, to training upon that. Now, Shantideva was saying, likewise, in the same way, now you should start to train yourself to build habit to others, to make it as yours self, right? To other beings. So at the beginning, absolutely, there will going to be the challenge. Okay, when you see some stranger on the street, oh, he's me, he's like me. His me is little far. Even he's like me is very difficult to have it, that sense. Or he's doing a strange. Right? But now, this is what next step Shantideva telling us. Once we're able to train ourselves, understand completely, we should put other as a priority, then actually make it in a practical that we should train and build this habit to treating other as myself. And it is very possible that this stanza Shantideva proving that if we think this, how it can be? Yes, he's saying this is very possible that how you build habit to this sperm and blood, same way you can build it, this habit. By constantly thinking other as self, none other than self. Shenji tokchen chene ni dagi lula chinangwa dedan teni chokshene cheji shen la pembachus. And also try to do this. I think I have. Where is it? Yeah, stanza 159. Shenji tokchen chene dagi lula chinawa dedan teni toshene cheji shen la pembachus. Now for others, you should spy on everything your body seems to have. Right? To yourself seems to have, or your body or yourself, right? Whatever seems to have. Steal it. Okay, there's no other third party thief, okay? It is saying steal the things from yourself. Steal it. Shantideva not guiding here, you should engage into steal. you can steal your own belongings. Whatever seems oneself to have it, you can steal that from yourself.
Do you think that this word steal here is the poetic?
Not poetic, just it is.
But quietly give it away. When you steal something, you quietly do it. So you're quietly stealing it away, quietly giving it away.
This is not covertly. It's not saying covertly. Just do it for others. Steal it, take it all away from myself, and what to do? Use it for the benefit of others. No need to do quietly.
Wow, yes.
Okay, anyway, with whatever way you want to do it, benefit for others. Either quiet way or direct way or whatsoever way you want to do it. But once you're able to do this, this is it. That's what Shantideva was saying now. Do it. Now, this is something for people like us, it's very challenge, isn't it? Take it away. Steal it and take it away. All of those what I belongs. And then use this for others. Use it for the benefit of others. You see, that's why I told you earlier, you should listen all this, assuming that I trained to put already other as a priority. Before that, this training, oh, how can I do this? So this is the wrong step then. If you think this is, how can I, this is impossible. If you have in this your mind, this is impossible, then you should move back to the previous training. Previous training. Training upon exchanging self and others. Even one cannot do that and then move even further back. That train to treat the self, equal self and others. And even cannot do that, move to the kind of like understand the quality of staying away from crowdness. If you even cannot do this, and then look at the faults of being in a crowd. Grave, the faults of craving. And even cannot do that, no option. Then there's no method. If you are failed to do such a things which is happening with yourself, how you can miss that? You cannot miss that. Even you want to neglect that, then there's no any other way to do it. Even you seeing the faults of your own craving. Right? Then if you are neglecting that, no way then. This is also becomes like a kind of like a medicine becomes poison. Once you let medicine becomes poison, then there's no other cure remedy. Another medicine is medicine. Yeah. So if you use poison, then you go use it, right? Okay, anyway, so you can't go further than that. This is it. Back until that. And then train from there to move forward, to come to this stage again. Daki shenni mikila, dato shenni mawada, dani penche shen minshe, dala tadochi miches. Now this is another very interesting stanza. Very interesting stanza, this 160. Indeed, indeed am happy. What do you call it? Indeed. Huh? I am. I indeed am happy. Is it? I indeed am happy. Others sad. I am high and mighty. Others low. I am helped while others are abandoned. Right? Why don't you think this way and jealous for myself? Why am I not jealous of myself in thinking this way? Nobody does this, right? I indeed am happy. Others, none of my business, not my business. We normally think this way. I am high and mighty. Others law what to do. That's their own choice. I am helped and supported by many others, many peoples, while others are abandoned. Oh, they don't know how to get support and help from others. We may say that instead of helping. This, I think, one like a very Westerner way of thinking. Not my business. They easily say this word. Very easily saying, I have heard this word from my friends saying this. It's not my business. Very easily. This is, I think, because of the, how to say, having strong sense of self-protection. You need to protect yourself. For that, whatever you need to do, you have to. That kind of mindset, it's building that habit strongly from the childhood in Western society. Even these academic educations, they teach this to how to protect oneself and how to put oneself as a priority all the time. Right? That is that mistake, I think. People who easily saying that this is not my business. I think they have that kind of mental mindset, what do you call it? Mentality. Because they have this like outstripping all the time. I wanna outstripping from everybody else, right? Who have this kind of mentality, and they will not going to hesitate to say when someone is stuck and hoping help and support, and then, oh, this is not my business. And then also, unfortunately, I have heard the law, how they create it in this society, Western society, also makes people to say this too. For instance, I have heard when I come first to the Canada that I think this even my mother, actually my mother even doesn't speak much English even today, but she understands this by coming here in Canada. She advised me when I come first here that he told me, if you see some old man and woman old man, right? They are very difficult, and if you see they fell down, don't try to go there and help. Really. You see, why? I said, why? It is because they can sue you that you did it. No, no, no. I'm just expressing what I heard. You see, they can sue you that you pushed them and they fell down. And then you have to end up paying all their medical receipt, medical bills. You see, now, I think law, I don't know how, this Westerners' law also making people to not involve easily in helping others. Right? You need to think before you give your hand to someone. Is it? Is it not? Not in this way? Ani is a little bit disagree that what I said. She's saying, no, 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 no.
Because there's a good Samaritan rule.
How you guys think? Is it true that they can sue me if I involve in that situation? Is it truth?
I haven't heard that before, Rinpoche. I don't know.
Sorry?
I haven't heard of that before. I really don't know.
Oh,
There's a good Samaritan.
then maybe this could be the misguiding. You see? Misguiding. How my mother heard that? Oh, interesting then.
Westerners do keep a narrower view about what is their business and what isn't their business. You know, Westerners, if they see somebody being harmed by somebody on the street, most will walk away. It's none of their business. They don't want to get involved. So you're right.
You're right, means?
You're right. The way the West is, we're educated to keep to ourselves, to keep our personal responsibility.
Don't involve.
Don't get involved.
Do not involve.
No, don't get involved. If you're not quite sure how to help, don't get involved.
No, that's just standing up, just lifting up. Anybody can do it. Anybody.
In an accident situation, if you go to assist somebody, there's the Good Samaritan law. You, with your knowledge, help somebody and their injuries increase or something happens, they can't sue you because of the Good Samaritan law.
I think that here Amanda, they're also saying the same thing, like a Good Samaritan laws that protect helpers.
Yes.
There are Good Samaritan laws that protects helpers. Okay, then that helps. That helping me to remove that doubt, you know. I have that concept even today, you know. I have to be very careful before helping someone. Like when I see some elders falling down on the street or on the park or anywhere, and before I'm giving hand and lifting up them, so I have to think whether I should do or not. In back home, like in our environment, we don't think that. Obviously, you just go and lift up. You don't need to think that.
Well, here we have first aid training, so we wouldn't immediately lift up. We'd say, are you okay? Can I help you? And if they say yes, you can do whatever you need to do. If they say no, I'm okay, you have to stand back. You're not allowed to touch.
You see,
but
we need to talk first. Okay,
yes.
Anyway, I was...
So, you know, You've got a valid point.
Okay. Yeah, so okay, they are little zigzag there now.
Always zigzag.
There is a little zigzag there. Anyhow, so easily saying this is not of my business. That kind of like I don't know how to say that. Where is it? Where are we? Stanza 60, right? Yeah. So now Shantideva again telling us to meditate jealous. Why don't I jealous to myself by thinking that I indeed am happy, others sad? Normally, when I said other happy, I will think that, right? Why everybody is happy, I am sad. Why everybody is high and mighty, I am low all the time. Why everybody gets support and helped, why I am abandoned. See, now this same technique, Shantideva, how to say, want us to use just by switching the object, the person. Yeah, why don't you jealous? Yeah, we jealous when somebody is kind of like a happy, I'm sad, then I jealous to that person, right? Why he is always happy? I raise question myself. Why he is always happy and me sad? Why always he get help and support from people where why I am abandoned? Where I should go? You see, that kind of concept we easily arise. Now, Shantideva, this same concept he want us to raise for others now. Why don't you jealous yourself by having all this and not to the others? You should raise jealous to yourself. By raising jealous in this way, what he really meant is to kind of like eradicate the self-interest. I don't know how much in a practical level we will be able to practice this, implement this. But this is interesting, isn't it? Interesting instruction. These are something really needs to analyzed. We need to contemplate again and again. And then next, Dani dedan traljite shenji dungal dala jors. Kanse dini chi che dagi kyonla tawar jis. Shenji nyepa cheba yang rangi kyondu gyur shela. Dagi nyepa chung shechang kewo mangla rabdo shoks. Happiness, fulfillment, this I give away. The pain of others, this I will embrace. Inquiring of myself repeatedly, I will thus investigate my faults. See now. These are all training after one trained properly, able to put other as a priority. Then these trainings are the next step. Before that, these trainings are something very contradicting with our day-to-day life thinking, day-to-day life thought, isn't it? This is, maybe I should not say our day-to-day life, rather I can say these all guidelines are very directly contradicting with the mundane concept. Exactly contradicting. Completely asking us to do something opposite. Completely. And when others are at fault, I will take it and turn the blame upon myself. Look. And all my sins, however slight, declare and make them known to many. See, in mundane concept, exactly opposite, isn't it? When others are at fault, I will take it. No way. In mundane concept, right? No way. And especially turn the blame upon myself. Oh, forget it. Isn't it? And then further, all my sin, however slight, instead of declare, hide it. And make them known to many? No way. I don't want anyone to know my faults and my sin and what I did. I don't want anyone to know what I did, right? That's our mundane concept. You see now, these are exactly contradicting the what normally mundane concept, mundane person concept. When others at fault, I will take it and turn the blames upon myself. And all my sins, however slight, declare it and make them known to everybody, to many. Who will do that now? Who will do that? Do we have some example? No way, that nobody wants to do that, right? But this kind of training, again, it's all after when you're able to put other as a priority, then these trainings you may try. Anyway, but still, these are all, even when we listen, it's inspiring, isn't it? Even these kind of advice, when we hear, it's really inspiring. Yes, it is. Even though at the moment one unable to follow this guideline, but by hearing all this kind of like a genuine, honest guideline, and it makes us to raise inspiration, and then we may, generate some positive aspirations that by hearing this kind of advice, guideline, that, oh, may I able to do like this one day, although I am failed to do right now, but may I able to do this one day. That kind of like a boosting strengthiness within oneself by hearing this kind of things. And these kind of advice, I doubt you may not going to hear in any of these academic schools. None of those academic education systems will going to educate their students in this way. Where in Buddhism, and especially this Mahayana practitioner who try to practice the bodhicitta, they try to give advice like this to their follower. Isn't it interesting? But yeah, as I told you earlier, listening this kind of advice is always potential and beneficial to inspire oneself towards positive actions, towards engaging into right things. Be honest, truthful, regardless. Okay. And then the next, Shenji Tagpa Lao Jebe, Rangi Tagpa Siljinen. Again, contradicting to mundane activity. The mundane person will not going to try this, I think. Dani Tenji Tamantar, Tönam Kunla Kolwarji. The fame of others, I will magnify. Not T, it is F. Magnify. The fame of others I will magnify, that it might thus outshine my own. Isn't it exactly contradicting what normally people thinking? And among them, I will be as one who serves my lowly labor for their benefit. If someone does this, according to the mundane, even does this, let's assume, even does this, definitely they will going to demand back a lot by saying, I did this to you, I did this to you, I did this to you, I did. Even within a couple, within a spouse, within a family member, isn't it? I always cook for you and you never thinking about me. I always...
That's the truth according to their cognitive level. That's according to normal people.
Doesn't matter. This is not talking from the normal people concept. It is talking about now needs to change. This behave failed. It does not work. It is never going to work. It's already failed. There are millions of evidence are there. Shantideva already said that before. However, it's cognitive or it is there according to their concept, it is truth. Doesn't matter. It's failed. It is failing to achieve what you're really looking for. So therefore, why you keep trying this same wrong method? This is what Shantideva was saying. Now try to change the completely different way and then see and then try it and then see it what you can really achieve or not. Happy, yes, even happy. Not necessary for enlightened, even for freedom, even for kind of like a calm, peace, even for the peace of mind. This kind of like a arguing in this way doesn't create any peace among the family member. It creates more problem.
It's just like saying, okay, I need somebody to cook cognitive level is, okay, I'm always cooking for you. The message is, okay, I need your help for cook. You don't need to go so far for liberation, enlightenment, or peace. It's not that far. It's very near. It's just, it's just normal people's conversation. Why raise it to a high level and criticize the normal people?
This is telling us to change our way of thinking and way of behaving. Completely different. It doesn't work. It doesn't even give a peace, happiness within a family too. We don't have to say, oh, okay, by doing so, if this gives kind of like if this solve the family problem, then maybe okay, but not solving. Instead, creating more problem, saying in this way, demanding in this way back.
According to Shantideva, what should say?
Not according to Shantideva.
What you should say if you just normal people.
Here it's according to Shantideva saying, among them I will be as one who serve my lowly labor for their benefit. That's it. That's what according to Shantideva needs to say it.
You are normal people, you never get help.
You see? That's exactly.
Normal people are not allowed to be happy.
Exactly. It is not about allowed to be happy. This is what brings you happy. That's what he think. Not argument brings you happy. Anyway, you see, immediately get what do you call objection. You see, this is I told you earlier, these are exactly contradicting with our mundane concept. Definitely, if this advice gives in those people who never had training, those above, definitely going to be object. That's why needs to train. That's why Shantideva gave all this above training before he gave this advice. Exactly. That's how you should train step by step. That's why this step by step is become important. If you jump here, okay, you should implement bodhicitta. How? Doing this. What? Right? It becomes what? What are you saying? Are you crazy? How? Who can do this? Isn't it? Therefore, first you need to train this, and before that you need to train to make itself and other equal, develop the sense of equalness, and to do that, see the faults of self-centered and everything, craving, the craving problem. So once you're free from craving, once you're able to see the faults of craving, then try to move on the next step, which is to relying on solitude place, staying away from crowdness. Then you need to train to have a sense of equalness. Then you need to make yourself able to exchange with the others, which means make it able to put other as a priority. Then bodhicitta practice training now. You see, you cannot neglect all this order and then arguing. No. From the beginning, I told you, you have to listen this based on this assumption. You forgot it. You didn't maintain this assumption.
I'm just asking a very practical question.
Yeah, very practical. Again, this is
somebody who has to work for the home and cannot leave solitude, and the first step it cannot, right? So then you have no way to.
Then move back. As I told you, move back.
To the solitude.
Yeah, move back. Yeah, move back training. If you think this is right now not for me, then step back. One is step back. Try there, and that is not one more step back. That's how you need to move in spiritual training. That's the way of moving the sharp faculties persons following spiritual training. They need rational reason, right? So, rational reason, education, you need to study, train step by step. You cannot just jump like a, how can we say? Normally we say like foolish spiritual follower.
Like you.
There are two types of person. One can be, either I can be myself like a foolish spiritual follower, trainer, or intelligent spiritual trainer. If I want to follow the intelligent way of spiritual trainer, then these guidelines, step by step. Don't move until you familiarize with one step, first step.
Then from Shanika's point of view, if you are just normal house person, you cannot go back because of your situation. You cannot understand forward, then you're stuck there forever, right?
That's it. That's for your training according to your capability at the moment. This is it.
You cannot move back because of your life. If you cannot move forward because you do not understand, then you have to stuck there forever.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you need to just try to train that whatever you have, whatever you can, until you familiarize with that training. You see, objection comes immediately to the Shantideva's guideline. Anyway, so these are the what we need to. So you see now, these are the ways, Bodhisattva's way of life training. Now, these are the, if one wants to become a Bodhisattva, these are the path. These are the path that we are trying to choosing. Then, dini kyunchen rangshin te lobru yönden che mi tu. Di yönden chine kyang ge kyang mishi te dar ji. Again, this is contradicting, which is 164. This ego is by nature rife with faults. Its accidental gifts I should not praise. Whatever quality it has, I will so contrive that they remain unknown to everyone. See, this is again, he's advising us to do something opposite of the mundane activity. Yeah, this is exactly, he purposely advising and guiding these all instructions. Because at the very beginning, he really started with this stanza saying that so far what we did was failed. Now you should change your skill method. And when you're changing, yes, all path is become completely new to you. And that makes one feel very strange, maybe I should say. I don't know what to say. Strange, or feel something like a very loss, insecure, because you never saw this road before. Now somebody is telling you, you go from here, you will going to reach Niagara Falls, which you never drove before. Which you never drove before, right?
Very careful.
And signboards are there. We need to make sure that all the signboards are in the road or not. Very careful move. And this going to Niagara Falls via 401 and 427 and QEW, I have no any doubt. I don't need to watch so carefully all these signboards. I can just drive with the full of confidence. If somebody tell me other than this road, that I can get to the Niagara Fall, even they show me all the maps. And while I'm driving, I have to be very cautious and careful to looking all this signboard properly, isn't it? That gives us some, how to say, at the beginning, because we don't have experience by applying those all instructions that what Shantideva were giving, it very new to us. So we may feel little insecure. That's okay. And once you try it, you get there, then you will understand. That's why Shantideva was saying, you just follow his guideline. You will see the benefit later. Wait for that time. Be a little patient. Anyway, so the what next is that this ego is by nature rife with faults. It accidental gifts I should not praise. Whatever quality it has, I will so contrive that they remain unknown to everyone. You see. So this is what it's saying, like this self-centered attitude, the ego, right? Self-centered attitudes. By nature, rife with the many faults. Rife, okay, when we say rife, I don't need to say many, right? Rife with faults. Its accidental gifts I should not praise, whatever quality it has. But at the same time, in accidental, I can have some good qualities. I may have some good qualities, but I should not praise myself. Whatever the qualities it has, I will contrive, plan that they remain unknown to everyone, isn't it? Contrived or planned that they remain unknown to everyone. So this is kind of like a keeping very low file. This Shantideva asking us, even though, let's say, I have some qualities, but I should keep all this very low file. I should not express. Rather than expressing, I should hide. Now, this is exactly contradicting. According to this Shantideva, you see, whatever I have seen, I should express. Whatever I have quality, I should hide. Where to the mundane, whatever I have quality, express. Whatever I have seen and false, hide. Isn't it? Exact contradicting, yeah. But this is what, when we really want to train the way of Bodhisattva's life, and these are the training. Dorna dagi tenji chiri choji shenla neje kang nede semjen tenji chiri dangi lani pabrajis. In short, all the harm, in short, that ego does to its advantage and to others' cost, may all of it descend upon itself, myself, to its own heart, to others' benefit. Again, now this is not difficult to understand, right? It is just difficult to put into practical. But this is what Shantideva is saying. After you familiarized, training yourself, able to putting other as priority, then this is its next step for you to train the Bodhisattva's way of life. Dini nyata gyursuldu sheke pani mejades pama sarpi chulshindu ngosa jigdang damdeshas. Do not let it struck. Is it? Struck. about the place, so arrogant, so overbearing, right? But like a newly wedded bride. Is it newly wedded bride? Let it be demure and blushing, timorous and shy. And this example, I think during Shantideva times works. This example may not work today's world. I don't know, maybe not. Is it right? Do not let it start about the place, so arrogant, so overbearing by like a newly wedded bride. Let it be demure and blushing, timorous and shy. So you see, that's how kind of like one should train when it comes to the self-centered attitude. And then now this is the final stanza, the gently instructing, right? Gently instructing, conveyancing in a gentle way. This is all Shantideva telling to do yourself, okay? Don't let somebody to tell you to do this. You need to do this all in yourself. You need to tell this all guideline to yourself and try to convince to practice the way of Bodhisattva's life. Desha tetar nesha shings, tetar choji mejawa, tetar deni wangsha des, dele dena charche shas. Now, here. Do it in this way, right? Where is it? Do this. Be like that. And such thing don't ever do. You see, now 3 things. This stanza is again contained very vast meaning. It's thus that you will bring it forcibly, right? Forcibly to heal. And if it overstep the mark, well, then apply the lash. You see? Then you need to do different activity. Peaceful activity does not work. So till now, these are very peaceful activity, kind of like a convincing myself by telling all this in a gentle way. In this way, I should try myself to convince. If it is failed to convince, then you should do this. Apply the lash, right? Lash here means heating, right? Heating the weapon of the sword, not the not the stick. It's not talking about the stick, material things. It's talking about the word weapon, right? Word weapon, we can say word weapon. Some sort of like a word can hurt you, right? So use it. Lash here refers to use a word weapon to tame yourself. So now here, do this. Be like that. Such things, don't ever do it. Desha tetar neja shing, tetar chuji mejawa. Okay, now Here, let me describe this. Do this means, so the till now, we can go back all those guidelines. Actually, we can go all the way to the first chapter till now. But not, at least we can just go within this chapter from the beginning. Do this means that what Shantideva advised us to understand the contraries of meditative concentrations and to understand the quality of solitude, and then train to practice the train to have a sense of equalness, and train to make able to exchange with the others, means put other as a priority, and then so on. Today's advice, do this. This is what it refers. Do this. Understand? Do this. Do this and be like that. Be like that is also refers that whatever the skills, method that he provided, how to train, be like that. Understand? It can goes all the way back, and you can just go back to the from begin of this chapter onward too. Either way, if you are able to remember all the past training, then you can go as much as you can back and do this. Be like that. This is what it's and they were saying, concluding now here. And then such things don't ever do, right? Tetar chuji mijawa, tetar deni wangje des. And such things don't ever do. This is something a little bit, I think, translation. Tetar chuji mijawa, tetar deni wangsha des. Mean that here. As above said, do this, be like that. If you don't do this, if you don't be like that, right? That should be like this. Instead of such things don't ever do. According to Tibetan here, Desha, Tetar Nejashing, Tetar Chuji Mijawa, Tetar Dini Wangsha des, Tetar Chuji Mijawas. If you do not do it as I recommend you to do this and be like that, if you don't do this, right, then that kind of mentality you need to conquer and apply the lash. That's what it's saying here. Now, this mental is not able to tamed by peaceful way, right? Now you need to use a little bit harsh word to yourself to tame oneself. This is what it means. Such thing don't ever do. So there, this I think translator. Such thing, if you don't do it, right? Such thing, if you don't do it, if you have that kind of mentality, then try to conquer that type of mentality by applying the lash. I don't know how that harsh word using that lash can convince that, tame that mentality. We'll see. He's giving all this from the next, how to apply the lash from the next stanza 169 and onward. Okay, so we may stop here today. So we have a little bit time. So if you have question, we may can discuss. Excuse me. Mm-hmm.
To go back about the not my business, sometimes you don't have the skills. Sometimes you can see the situation, but because you don't have the skills, you don't know how to make it or how to assist or how to support, and you're fearful that whatever you do, whatever you might say, is just going to make it worse.
Yeah, that's right too. That's right too.
So,
First of things, that if you don't know what to do, maybe the people will not going to involve from the beginning most of the time. And second thing, even though that when somebody like that situation fall on the ground, when there are someone who is caring about, when there are someone who is willing to support, right? When you get that kind of intention, that itself has this energy to strengthen that person.
So that's enough.
Yes, you see, secondly, even though you don't know what to do, but just being there and kind of like a willing to do something, it also boosts others, what you call a courageous. It also encourages the others to do something, rather than completely lost. That what I'm saying is that even though you don't know what to do, but just trying also affects in a very good way to that person.
So even though you're in a situation where, like, not an accident, but say whatever's happening around you,
Yeah, you see, okay, for instance here, for instance, now we can imagine by looking at myself. Okay, let's say I am mid of the crowd, many people around. Okay, let's say, right? And then somehow I become helpless myself, fell down. And this many people just looking and doing nothing, how I will going to feel? Oh, there are many people, they know what happened to me, but still they don't ask even how I will going to feel, right? And I will feel like completely lost, isn't it? I am really that I thought having all these people around me will going to protect me, but when it really happens, no one is there protecting me. I am helpless completely. That kind of sense will boost, isn't it? Generates this attitude. Now, on the other hand, these few of those people, oh, what happened, Tuku? May I help you? Like, even though they don't touch, but just trying to showing like this, busy, and it gives me some support, oh, there are somebody who's caring about me, who willing to support me. Then I may stand up very quickly. No, I'm okay, right? That gives the that is the, actually we don't say, We only say the blessing which we can get from the somebody kind of like a realized, blah, blah. But this is actually also blessing. You are getting the positive energy from them. That's also a blessing. You get positive response from them, right? That boosting my energy, my strength. Where if these people all careless and pretending that there's nothing happened in front of them, they didn't see it at all. If they behave like this, if they attitude like, I will feel completely lost on the ground, right? Rather than trying to wake up, stand up, isn't it? I can imagine by thinking myself putting into that situation. Then that way we can see very clear. Many of the situations when we put ourselves into situation, we can see the very clear rather than just looking on somebody else. So that's what I feel. That's the first thing. If people doesn't know how to support, and they may not do from the beginning. And secondly, even though they don't know, but just to show their willingness, it still helps rather than neglecting and pretending that I didn't saw it. What happened with this guy, I don't know. Not of my business. And that is also sometimes when I watch the National Geographic, the animal eating each others, I always feel this cameraman doesn't do anything. He can do something there to protect. But this is just my worry, I think. Even though they didn't take this video, that is what happening in the forest. But being there, seeing it, doing nothing, that's a little bit difficult. Just taking the video to make money. All the purpose is to just make money, especially to get that kind of situation, to video that kind of things, waiting for that moment. When every animals are normal, they're not taking video. And then when some animal becoming aggressive, then immediately. That is a little bit. Whenever I watch animals like that's what I feel, but that's nothing I can do. It's already captured in a video and it's already passed. It's one way it's very difficult to watch, and on the other hand, it is also good lessons for us to watch too. This kind of video has both effect. Anyway, I think that's it now. So we'll do dedication. So now we dedicate this merit and make aspirations that may this merit become causes and condition for myself to really able to do all above instructions, which is completely or totally contradicting with our mundane way of concept or attitude. Zanamde tamje zibani tomne nyebe dranam pamje ne shega nanchi wala tubayi sibi tsole doan dowarshu jambal bawe jidara kembandang kundu sambu deyan deshinde deda kunje jesun dalobjin gewan deda tamje rabdungu Gewan de yeshe wokun, Sanam yeshe tsozone, Sanam yeshe lechonwe, Tamba kunyin tobarashu, Sanje kusum nyebe chinlam dan, Chenye mingyur dembe chinlam, Gendun mechen dembe chinlam je, Jedara ngoa mel, Drubarshu. Read in English. By this beneficial activity, may I obtain omniscience, and having vanquished the harmful enemies, greed, anger, delusion, may I liberate all being tossed about helplessly by the waves of birth, aging, illness, and death in the ocean of becoming. By conforming to the knowledge of courageous Manjushri, Jambalyam, and in the same way as Samindabhadra, Kundusambo, and following their example, I dedicate perfectly all this virtue. By this virtue, may all being perfectly achieve the accumulation of merit, sanam, and wisdom, yeshe, and may they thereafter obtain the two holy bodies which result from this true accumulation. By the blessing of the Buddha, Sanjay, who obtained the three bodies, by the blessing of the immutable truth of the Dharmata, Chunyi, by the blessing of the infallible aspiration of the Sangha, Gendin, may this prayer of dedication be accomplished just as it is. Thank you. Have a good day.